Hi guys, welcome back to Red Flag Radio F1 YouTube channel. We are at the spiritual home of Formula 1, the one and only Silverstone for the 2025 British Grand Prix. A track that needs no introduction, history at every corner, cops, maggots and Beckett's, you name it. This is the place where generations of legends have been made. This isn't just another Grand Prix weekend, this is the British Grand Prix weekend. And the qualifying session we just witnessed, it was just, let's just say, simply lovely. We had drama, crash, mistakes, penalties, and a last lap stunner from Max Verstappen to snatch pole position away from McLaren's as well as Ferrari. Stick with us for the next hour as we break down every moment of that qualifying session. Let's start with Max Verstappen because we haven't done that from I think quite ages now. It has to be Max Verstappen always, man. Like while the world was watching McLaren and Ferrari, where even we said that it will be a fight between those two teams. Max, man, he's always there and he proved us wrong. And he was able to put his Red Bull on pole by 0.103 seconds, man. It was just stunning, right?
I think pulling out a whole tenth was the real magic here because you would have expected that the pole difference would probably be in the hundreds or thousands of seconds, probably between the McLarens, if not a McLaren and a Ferrari, as we saw during the free practice sessions. But yeah, clearly those floor upgrades work. I suppose they figured out the car.
I don't think those are just simply on the upgrades. It's just that I think the driver, man. Maybe we can say that some upgrades are working because even Tsunoda was able to get, I think, P12. So maybe they are moving in that upward trajectory now. But man, it's just unbelievable. And maybe it's the rear wing as well because they decided to go with a different configuration for after FP2, I guess. So from the data they got, probably they thought that this is the best approach and the conditions maybe favored them as well. So that's his fourth pole of the season and 44th career pole, and that just ties him up with Sebastian Vettel's record for the most poles for Red Bull. So unbelievable, man. It's just he just knows how to pull that rabbit out of that hat, man. And we have said that so many times now. It's not even about this season. We have seen him doing this from past too many seasons now, man. It's just unbelievable.
Exactly. So clearly the upgrades are a thing because as you said Yuki also did well. P12 is a decent qualifying finish for him because now at least he has for the race he has points within sight. He can try to
Yeah.
aim for P10, P9, something along those lines. But I guess it's just one of those things where Max sees an inch and stretches it to a mile. And this is just the right amount of performance boost that Max needed for him to convert the car into something that is race win worthy or pole worthy, at least as of now. And massive props to him, and I love taking a dump on him every opportunity I get. But credit where it's due. Amazing lap and amazing performance for him dethroning the McLarens for pole. And I just hope we get a good race out of this as well.
Absolutely, man. Like, say what you want about the car not being dominant anymore. It's just that you can never count Max out, man. And we did. We said that he would be P5 in our predictions, but that final lap was, in his own words, simply lovely. It's just
Absolutely, that
unbelievable.
was sensational. But let's move on to my source of Saturday depression, which is McLaren. First of all, Oscar Piastri out qualifying Lando is very funny to me because I thought for sure Lando is going to outperform Oscar. If not just in quali, also the race, but that remains to be seen, of course. But dude, that was a brilliant lap out of him as well because I was very sure that Lando was going to get pole, but if not, definitely outperform Oscar. But credit where it's due to
I,
him as well. The rookie, compared to Lando, he is a rookie in my eyes, but he still pulled out that magic lap. And I think this is going to be one of those events where Oscar pulls a fast one on Lando, and maybe we see him finish better than Lando. What do you think about that?
I think let's just talk about qualifying because Lando Norris won't be happy. I think this is the first time he got out qualified by any driver on this track. So that's a statement by default. And in all honesty, I think both drivers made some mistake one way or another. Because if we have to talk about all the six drivers, I think it was only Max Verstappen and George Russell who got the perfect lap. Because even Ferraris made some mistake. Even Leclerc was not happy. He was just cursing himself. And probably we will talk about Ferrari, but Piastri made a mistake on his final run, and even Lando Norris went slightly off track. So there was that potential to get maybe that pole position either from Piastri as well as Lando, and they were ahead of Max Verstappen as well until the final moment where Max Verstappen just went all out attack and at that moment. So I feel there was that potential, but still, when it comes to race, both drivers would be there. I think Lando Norris can grab that winning moment because obviously that's his home track. And when it comes to racing at home, there's that different motivation level. Obviously, if they can extract that performance, that's a different story. And there's that weather drama that can create more spicy moments. But I feel Lando Norris would be in that place where he can grab more points compared to Oscar Piastri.
So you're
That's
saying
how I
that
see it.
it requires both McLarens messing up, plus Red Bull upgrades, plus Max Verstappen's performance for Max to get pole. It's not just Max. It is also the McLarens messing up.
Yeah, I think you need that. Obviously, when it comes to Max Verstappen, he's there to perform. But just by the tools you had, I feel like it's a lost opportunity for McLaren because they should have grabbed that pole position. And if not McLaren, even Ferrari had that potential just by the tools they had. So
Man,
I was surprised when I saw Max Verstappen.
all I'm gonna focus on is the fact that it takes McLaren's messing up for Max to take pole. That's the only bit of the statement that I'm going to focus on, because other than that, it's just a little bit sad because you're right, McLaren's should have been on the front row, if not the Ferraris, and if it isn't the McLaren's, it should have been the Ferraris, man. So yeah, it feels like five drivers had to mess up or four drivers had to mess up for Max to finally snatch that pole. But fine, sure, congrats to him, I guess.
I think that's how you will see it. But that just shows that you need to perform well at every single moment. And Max Verstappen always does that. It's just that, yes, you have the tools, you have the car. And if you're not using that car, then what's the point of having those tools, right? And that's what I think Max Verstappen clearly showed here, that I don't have those tools, I don't have that performance, but I know I can extract that performance. And that too in Silverstone. So it's amazing, but yeah, just by judging with the pace they had and all the performance they had, I feel McLaren should have been ahead of Max Verstappen and even Ferraris. But if we are talking about Ferraris, I think it's important that we should move to Ferraris because I think they will be disappointed with the P5 and P6. So third row, with all the performance, with all the spotlight, with all the all the rumors and everything that we had in our mind, they won't be happy with P5 and P6. And let's just say it was a messy qualifying for Ferrari, because if we talk about Q1, I think there was panic when even Lewis Hamilton thought that maybe they will mess up and probably he won't even make it to Q2. But yeah, what else I can say? They called, I think the tricky conditions probably didn't favor them, but there was that potential. And probably in the race, they definitely should get podium. They won't be happy if Hamilton is not on podium and even Charles Leclerc is not on podium. How they will get both drivers on podium, I'm not sure at the moment.
McLaren double DNF is possibly the only way they both get to be on the podium. But yeah, I suppose now it comes down to their durability and reliability in the race to figure out whether they can get a podium, because clearly they have the pace, clearly the upgrades did work. So
Yeah.
it bears repeating that since 2014, Lewis has been on podium here every single year, and if he finally breaks that record under the Tifosi banner, it's going to be tragic, and it's going to piss off a lot of British fans against Ferrari. Ferrari is going to lose a lot of British fans in general if Lewis doesn't make it to the podium. But
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, let's see how the race goes. Let's see whether the Ferrari has the durability to get to the podium. Maybe it happens that because of wet conditions, something causes one of the McLarens to tumble down the order, and then that creates one space on the podium, which possibly Lewis gets to take. I think, to be completely honest, I think if there is a clear choice between Leclerc or Lewis being on the podium, Ferrari should probably engage in some team orders and let Lewis go, because otherwise there's gonna be a mass riots there.
Right, man. I mean, every fan really wants to see Lewis Hamilton on podium for Tifosis because we haven't seen that. Yes, he got that sprint win. We always mention that part in our segments, but the fact is, we are still waiting for that Sunday podium, and I think that's the maximum he can get. Obviously, there's that rain that can spice up the whole grid, and we have seen Formula One and the Silverstone drama that happens. So even there's that small potential that Lewis Hamilton can snatch that victory from McLaren's as well as Max Verstappen, because Delolu is the only Solulu for all the Ferrari fans, and they desperately need that. So I don't know, man. If we talk about stats as well, it's I think 6th July has a big significance for Hamilton, because when it comes to 6th July, he got that win for McLaren in 2008 when he raced it, and in 2014 he got that win for Mercedes as well, and it's the 6th July that he would be racing with Ferrari in Silverstone. So stats are there, Delulu is there. Whether he can get that and whether he can survive the chaos of maybe the wet weather and all the drama that is going on ahead of him, there's that potential, and I think this is their best shot at the moment.
I suppose so, that remains to be seen. But then let's move on to Mercedes, because George Russell didn't do half bad, you see. I
Yeah.
thought that George Russell and Mercedes in general would not do well, and we thought that unless it rains, Mercedes does not have a very big chance at the top this race, because we were only counting Ferraris and McLarens, but now apparently the Red Bull is one of the Red Bulls is up for contention as well. But a decent lap out of George, honestly, because at least now that puts him securely in the middle of the points positions, and maybe even if he just does his regular thing of not engaging in anything, he might end up on the podium by doing absolutely nothing. So
Yeah.
maybe that happens as well. So, and he's put himself in the perfect position for that, honestly.
Absolutely, man. He's starting from P4, and I think that's his eighth top four start this season. And that just shows the consistency he's bringing. Even though we thought that Mercedes won't be there, but maybe the conditions helped Mercedes to some extent. But he always shows that, brings that solid lap, and it's always clean and consistent when it comes to being that Mr. Saturday, and he extracts that performance in the best possible way, and that's the reason why he's P4 in the standings as well. So I think when it comes to British bias, probably they would love to see all three British drivers on that podium. Whether that can happen or not, it's too soon to say. But if chaos happens, probably George Russell will be there to pick up those pieces and just creates that meme that does nothing and be on that podium. He has that potential and he can extract that, right?
Yeah, but man, you say the British bias will probably prefer the three British drivers being on podium, but you cannot discount Ollie Bearman. Then he's also a Brit, and we'd love to see him on the podium as well.
But he created that chaos, man. He should have been P8, but he would be starting from P18. I mean, we will cover about Haas, but I don't know, man. Another red flag infringement there. Only he himself to be blamed for that.
Yeah, no one can cover him for that. There is no kind of apologetic statements I can make on his behalf there, because that was cleanly, as you said, P8 was cleanly his to take. But alas, the rookie blood kicks in, and that's fine, I guess. It's better to get out all these mistakes in your debut season and get better with the exchanges next season. But yeah, if he had secured P8, it would have been some kind of a treat for the British fans attending this qualifying session as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Because other than that, Haas was again also mediocre.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ocon in the other half was, I think, P15.
Yeah.
So that just clearly shows that there was that potential from Bearman, maybe the home energy and everything. It was in his favor. But I don't know, man. I think that's his second red flag infringement. So that's not acceptable, even if you are a rookie. And that's the reason why he got 4 penalty points. And the funny side was when he crashed. Just in the pit lane, Max Verstappen was laughing on this video, and I was surprised. Usually, we don't see that from Max Verstappen, but yeah, maybe some rookie mistakes for Ollie Bearman, and he can still get some points because he's in that motivated spot and he can grab some points if everything goes according to the script. But if you're talking about the driver who is getting penalty, there's another driver who would be kicking himself because he got a three-place grid drop, and we are talking about Kimi Antonelli, who qualified P7, and yeah, could have been better, could have been worse as well because he was nowhere close to George Russell as well. So I think he can take that best of the rest in a way, and but he would be starting from P10. So I think the minimum requirement would be to get as many points as possible
Yeah,
after
after
a disappointing.
exactly, after a disappointing couple of races, more than a couple of disappointing races, I think the best thing for him to do right now is to keep his head down and just try to secure double points for the team, because more likely than not, George Russell will find a way to be, at least at the very least, be in the top 5 of points. I think that's gonna be the case. Time will tell, but then in that case, Kimi Antonelli needs to bring some more points in, because otherwise, Ferrari looks like they're about to get back up to P2 in the constructors as well. I mean, this isn't the kind of performance that this is the kind of performance from Kimi that can go on, because other than that, if it's only going to be Russell who performs, this battle of leapfrogging between Ferrari and Mercedes and the constructors will end very quickly. Now Ferrari
Yeah.
has settled in with their new upgrade package and they're looking quick. So
Yeah.
Mercedes needs both drivers, man. And Kimi Antonelli doesn't necessarily have to chase podiums. All he needs to do is bring points like he was in the first quarter of the season.
Absolutely, man. I mean, wet weather can spice it up, and I'm saying this wet weather thing quite many times. But even if it's a dry race, probably Kimi Antonelli can grab as many points as possible. And we saw that in Canada, where he was very confident. In Austria, we couldn't see that because it was just a lap one incident, and probably we can ignore that for now because as if we talk about the whole season, he has been very consistent apart from all the mechanical failures. So he can get those points and probably be close to George Russell by the end of the race. But we'll see if that goes according to the script.
Absolutely. So then let's move on to your favorite team, which is Aston Martin. How do you feel about the qualifying performance of your favorite team, whose factory is right across the road?
I was surprised, man. I mean, if you saw Q1, Fernando Alonso was P3 and they were so confident they decided not to send Fernando Alonso for another lap. I was I was tensed because we have seen things changing very rapidly on this track. But that worked in his favor, and obviously he got the chance to save one more set of tires. And even in Q2, his performance was decent. And in Q3, he made a small mistake, but his I think he got P9, but he will move ahead of Bearman as well as Kimi Antonelli. So he will start P7, which is the perfect spot to start with. So I'm happy with that, and maybe there are more points in the horizon. I don't want to jinx that because he has been on 3 races point streak, so he can grab more points now. But I hope that's the case scenario because he will overtake Lance Stroll on points as well, and that's something that you would love to see because again last Stroll and getting out in qualifying one is something that's the perfect love story too. I perfect love story for others but not for me as an Aston Martin fan. So yeah, and they did bring a major upgrade this weekend as well, so some amazing performance is from Fernando Alonso is something that we always see that, right?
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly, so I'm not going to talk a lot about Alonso. But then to address Lance Stroll, really it's a low hanging fruit, okay? There isn't much excitement on my end to predict that Lance is gonna get out qualified by Alonso because that's again like trying to win a foot race against this infant as a fully grown adult. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is to be expected, and now as of this weekend, we are going to see Alonso again going back to his old ways of carrying the team. So,
But you know what? I have said it like maybe 100 times in this video. But if it rains, please, please, Lance Stroll, you know what to do. You are the driver who can be at Ayrton Senna level if it rains. And as an Aston Martin fan, I would love to see him getting those points now. And maybe he can overtake Alonso again if everything goes in his favor. But let's see. I'm excited for this race, but I'm praying that after that race, I won't be in that situation where I'm just crying and saying that what the hell happened in this race.
absolutely. I just hope that Alonso gets to finish in the points. That's all I honestly really care about because I am,
I know.
yeah, I'm not sure Lance is going to pull out his peak Ayrton Senna impression in the rain either because he's simply not possible for him to do that. You know, it's not like he's gonna overtake 12 cars in a row, right? No, he's
Who
not.
knows?
I know you're hopeful, but I know he's not gonna do that.
Yeah, he's not consistent, but he can grab some out of the box performance from that car. I don't know, man. I let's just say Delulu is the only Solulu here as well.
Okay, then fine. I hope for your sake that we get to see some action from Lance Stroll other than his best performance of licking as many windows as he can in 60 seconds. But let's move on to Alpine F1 team. I mean, Gola Pinto had a stunning spin and crash in Q1 itself, and I mean, he was supposed to deliver some performance in this race so that his contract might get extended, but that looks like GG's, honestly. Q1
Yeah,
elimination
man.
with a spin, no less, it's GG's.
His third qualifying one exit, I think, in 6 races, and yeah, there's not much I can say about Colapinto. I mean, even he couldn't say much. He was just silent in the interviews as well. I mean, he used the minimum words he could to just end the interview, and you could see the disappointment in that voice as well. And I don't think if he can't get any performance from that car, I don't think he will be racing in Belgium. And the rumors are intensifying that maybe Valtteri Bottas will return and he will drive for Alpine. I would be surprised that if Colapinto doesn't get any points, I would be surprised that rumor is turning into the real thing and Bottas not driving for Alpine, because that's something that makes sense at this point, because Gasly is clearly rising from the ashes for Alpine and he got P10.
Yeah, at the end of Q1, just before his final lap, in fact, both Alpines were last and second last. And
Yeah,
Gasly just somehow managed to scrape through into Q2 and then ultimately Q3. And man, amazing quali performance from him. Again, Gasly
absolutely.
is absolutely carrying Alpine right now.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's like one man show for the Alpine. And sad part for Alpine as well as Colapinto was that Gasly was P19, P18, and P20 in the three practice sessions, and still Gasly managed P10. I mean, it's not sad for Alpine, but if we talk about just the performance, probably that's the sad part for Alpine. And Colapinto, I don't know, man. There will be some head scratching going on because the last thing he wanted was that crash, and that
Yeah.
also happened.
Yeah, it's weird that Gasly was sandbagging in the practice sections. Who are you sandbagging for, man? Your team is dead last. But again, congrats to him for getting P10 at least. If he does nothing and if nothing goes wrong around him, if he doesn't get involved in anything, there's still one more point. They can still come up to
Yeah,
12 points as a team.
yeah. They desperately need those points, man.
Yeah, and
And
they're just getting left behind by the other teams right now. I mean, Racing Bulls, Haas, Kick Sauber, all of them are finding ways to perform somewhere.
yeah, even Aston's.
Yeah, even Aston's now. And again, we say Aston's, but we mean Alonso, let's be honest.
Yeah, but still, both are equal on points. So, yeah, that's why I'm giving the 50% credit to both
For
drivers at the
24
moment as a
more
whole.
hours, 24 more hours, and then Alonso will be carrying the team.
We will be back here. But yeah, man, when it comes to, like we said, we are saying 50% for both drivers. But when it comes to Alpine, it's just 100% points for Gasly. And neither Duan nor Colapinto is getting those points. And as I said, if there are no points for Colapinto, I think it makes sense to contact Toto Wolff and bring Valtteri Bottas because he can get those points, I feel.
I
And
agree, man.
that's
You need an experienced driver now. You've messed around with a couple of rookies. I mean, technically, Colapinto wouldn't qualify as a rookie because he did race with Williams for I think what 4 or 6 races last year, but something along those lines. But yeah, now I think Alpine needs to stop messing around and get a driver who will just find ways to be in points. Because Gasly is proving that the car is points worthy, even if it's just a solitary point.
Yeah. I don't think even that car deserves to be in top 10. I think that was just amazing by Gasly. Maybe he's confident. I won't say confident, but he knows how to extract the maximum from that car when others are probably struggling. So I'll give Gasly that credit, but Alpine is nowhere close to fighting for that top 10. But we'll see. It could be that another case where Gasly starts from P10 and probably just goes back. Or it could be a surprising race where Gasly just overtakes everyone. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess we'll see, and I'm excited to find out, honestly.
Yeah, man, there are too many storylines to talk about in this race weekend. And probably we should talk about another home team because, yeah, Sainz and Albon for Williams P11 and P14 and out in qualifying too. And I think this is the first time since 2020 that Williams failed to reach qualifying 3 in Silverstone. That just shows that historically this track has suited this car. And we are saying this from many race weekends that Williams is just going backwards. And this is not good, man. And P5 in the constructors is now seriously under threat if that's the performance that they will bring even in race.
That being said, though, do we think that, and I'm throwing this out to you completely because I do not believe Williams is going to find the durability and find the grit as a team and as a car and as a driver all put together that they get to score points. That maybe one of them scores P10, but I
Yeah.
doubt, man. I don't think there is a lot more in the bag other than 1 or 2 points in this weekend for Williams.
Yeah, I think Science probably is in a better shape this race weekend. While Albon said that we made it difficult for ourselves. So maybe there's some potential that they're still trying to find out. Maybe the setup they went for was not the right setup. There are questions, and that just shows that they are not in that stable position which they were like maybe 10 race weekends ago. So they were able to create that gap with the other teams because they had an amazing start and that car was fighting Ferraris at the top. But Now it's just going backwards, and that's just not good. And probably the minimum requirement would be to finish the race now, because that's something that they are, not doing that from maybe last 2 3 races, especially for Albon, who is getting TNF and DNF and DNF after every race weekend. So the minimum requirement would be to finish the race and grab some points if possible. But I don't know, man. Science is probably the driver who can grab some points, because he was looking more confident this race weekend.
Yeah, since the past few races, as you said, Williams has not been achieving anything meaningful, be it by way of mechanical failures or just actual poor race performance. So, yeah, this is a golden opportunity for Sainz to battle his way into the points, and especially with demotions for Kimi Antonelli and all, he has a opportunity to perform some overtakes, eat up rookies who are not as experienced racing around this track, and maybe even get up to P7 or something like that, man. That would
Yeah.
mean the world to Williams right now. That would give them the ray of sunshine and the ray of hope that they're desperately looking for.
Yeah, that's all they need right now, because even if they get like maybe 2 3 points, I think that would be a perfect morale boost, which they desperately need at this point.
I suppose let's then move on to Racing Bulls, because heartbreak for Lawson, honestly, and again another brilliant performance from Hajar in terms of his qualifying. And yeah, okay, not maybe brilliant, but still, that's pretty much the best case scenario that they can pull out from their standings in the constructors, because how much more can they bring out here when so many other teams are looking competitive, right?
Yeah, man. I think the field is so tight here. I mean, point 0.6 was something, it covered P1 to P19 in qualifying one.
Yeah.
That just shows that there one single mistake and you are gone. That's the harsh reality. And probably there was more performance before even qualifying. I thought that there's that potential that maybe one of the Racing Bull drivers will be in Q3, but sadly things didn't go according to the script for them, and Lawson was out in Q1. He won't start from P16, but he qualified P16. And Hajar, well, he continues his streak of never getting eliminated in Q1 this season. So that's a perfect record to have. But yeah, P13, I don't think they would be happy. But with two drivers having penalties, definitely they will move forward. So yeah, probably there was some more performance that they could have extracted, but not the end of the story. And again, Haja would be fighting for that lower end of points, which we have seen he has done that so many times now.
Yeah, exactly. I want to reiterate what I said for Signs, that he's in the perfect place to fight for the tail end of points. So is Hajar, man. Honestly, after the penalties being dished out and that promoting him a little bit, he's in a position to fight for the tail end of points, and I think he is more than capable of bagging them as well. So perhaps I am at least in my mind expecting at least P9 out of Hajar, if not better. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to the final team, probably we never thought that we would be doing this after like 2 3 race weekends. But yeah, Kick Sauber, I think back to earth.
Yeah, back to old habits, man. Absolutely nothing to write home about. Nothing special, nothing. And it's not even like they were doing very well and then they had a crazy moment where they lost it all. Because they just didn't look like they were going to be in the battle at all.
Yeah, I mean, after scoring in Austria, P17 and P19 in qualifying now, it's just that maybe the car just didn't have the enough grip through these high speed corners in Silverstone.
Which is
So
sad because they were one of the teams who brought major floor upgrades as well. So I was thinking it's only upwards from here, but I guess I was wrong about that.
I guess every team brought upgrades just by seeing how Kicksauber was performing. So uh, I think that's the harsh reality, that in one race where other teams will bring upgrades, probably you will move backward. And maybe it could be that one off race weekends where they just have to be like, probably we have done enough in last 2 3 race weekends. We can take some pain if this is the race weekend.
Absolutely. But then, yeah, I guess that wraps up our qualifying review, and I think we should move on to our predictions. And you know what? You should go first this time because I want to hear your thoughts on what your top five are going to be. Because as we saw, we both had the exact same five drivers in our mind for top five
Yeah.
in the quali, and we both got vaguely proven wrong. So I think let's go with you first this time. Let's see how
Oh
that
man.
goes.
I don't know, man. Where should I start? Uh, okay, let's just say P5. I don't know why I'm going against Piastri in almost every race weekend these days, but that is working in his favor, which is why I will still say P5 for Oscar Piastri, and probably he will prove me wrong one more time. So I think that's good for him. P4, I will go with George Russell. P3, I really want to see this. So it's not just a prediction, but something I really wish that will happen. And I will say P3 for Lewis Hamilton. P2, again, maybe this could be that prediction where he can be P1, but I think P2 will be Lando Norris. And P1, I just probably think that if it rains, Max Verstappen will get this win. And he has been waiting for that moment from quite some time now. So probably I think he will spoil the party for the McLaren boys and Ferrari.
Fair predictions, and in fact you will see that I do agree with you on a couple of these counts because we have to factor in the possibility of rain as you suggested. So
Yeah.
that being said, I think P5 is probably going to be Leclerc.
Okay.
P4 is going to be, and surprise surprise, P4 is going to be Oscar.
Oh,
P3 P3
that's
is
not what I
going
was
to be,
expecting.
yeah, dude, I just feel like something's going to go wrong, and usually when I have a gut feeling about something going wrong for McLaren is when I'm proven right. So let's see.
Man.
Then P3 Lewis. There is a lot of bias here. I have no factual data to back my predictions up here. I just hope
Yeah,
he's
same.
on the podium.
Yeah, same. Just pure on vibes.
Exactly. And then, therefore, considering rain, P2 Lando, P1 Max. I think this is his race to win, and I think he should win just on the fact that that would spice up the championship again, and it'll make it somewhere in the neighborhood of a three-way battle, you know?
Yeah, man, he need those points two, after his P10 in Spain and after DNF in Austria. Whatever points he can get to be in that championship fight, I think he would be pleased with that. And again, we went with very similar predictions, which is pretty surprising.
Yeah, other than Russell, mostly because I don't want to imagine him being in the top five, our predictions are mostly similar.
Yeah, man, Russell and
Our
Leclerc are the
podiums are
only.
absolutely the same, in fact.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. Probably F1 gods will surprise us and give us the same order, or maybe they would just go on be like, "Hey, you guys are." I won't curse right now, but you know what I was about to say.
Yeah.
But I think that probably wraps up our full qualifying breakdown for the 2025 British Grand Prix. Let's just say it was simply lovely, but our focus now moves to the Sunday Grand Prix where there is a big chance of rain to spice up the whole drama. But even without that, I think we are sorted for a thrilling Grand Prix, which British Grand Prix never disappoints. So do join us post the race as well. And to every single one of you tuning in to our channel, we really, really want to thank you all for supporting us as we have crossed 300 subscribers now. And we are just getting started, and your support means the world to us. And that just drives us to bring more reactions, more race reviews, and more unfiltered debates for future. So hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and do drop your top 5 race predictions in the comments. But when the drama hits, we are waving the red flag. Goodbye.